Welcome, everyone, to our new podcast in the Brothers in Line. This podcast is going to be consisting of a lot of things, but before I go into talking about that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Catastro, and the other member is Mo Mas. Mo, would you like to introduce yourself?
I think you already done a great job on that in that department, so I'll let you continue what you're saying.
Thank you very much. So the podcast will be based on relationships with families, friends, and business. These topics go hand in hand. And Mo, would you like to expand on that part?
I mean, it's pretty much straightforward. Family, you gotta love them and hate them at the same time. That's how we know how that goes. They always say there's a thin line between love and hate. It starts from the family. Friends, vice versa. And likewise for business.
Right. I think it's a very interesting field of topic that needs to be discussed and something very important in today's time as well. So I'm sure there's a lot of topics we're going to be discussing in that lane to share with people as we go on. And the other part, Mo, is the fact that it's a new podcast. So as we recently launched it. So I guess people have to be patient with us. So what's your take on this, Mo?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be patient with us as we're learning. We are learning. As time goes by, we will improve, obviously. Just be patient with us, and hopefully we get there soon enough.
Right, perfect. And I think that being said, we're going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic. And I think a topic that is really relevant and important to talk about. And that is what makes a man and the aspect of character building. Before I go through the list of things we're going to be discussing, Mo, do you have anything to say on that? Because that's an interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, everyone have their own perspective of men, so it just depends on who's saying it what. So nowadays, I know like this question used to be straightforward back in the days. As I am old soul, thank you, and old man, thank you. Other than that, now we find it much more difficult
To
to
explain.
define and explain what makes a man. It's becoming a debate and a conversation, which I don't understand why. What used to be a man before would always be a man now. No shots implied there.
Thank you. So to give a bit of a summary of some of the things we're going to be going through, of course, we introduced ourselves. We're going to be talking about what makes a man, what are some of the characteristics and traits of a man from a positive angle of how a man should be, and also be talking about some of the negatives of how a man shouldn't be. We're also going to be looking at the aspect of self-building and how a man should build himself. Also the expectations that is expected on how a man should carry himself and what is expected of him. We're also going to be talking about the challenges of being a man and how that applies in today's time. And then we're going to be given like a final summary and like a food for thought at the ending. So with that being said, let's kickstart this. Do you have anything to say on that, Mo?
Now let's get cracking. I'll do my best to explain as much as I can, but just remember, it's just my view.
That's completely fine. So, with that being said, what makes a man? I mean, if we're looking at the characteristics and traits of a man from a positive standpoint of how a man should be, what are some of the things that come to you, Mo, on that?
Well, responsibility, leadership, of course, and also confidence. Those are the few ones that come to the top of the head. But there's a lot more to that to a man.
Right. I think those are good examples. I mean, when I think of the how a man should carry himself as well, there's other things that also come into play, like the integrity aspect of things in terms of values and principles, being honest with what they say, and also being a man of their word. I think it's also important that a man is a what's the word I'm looking for, is assertive with some of the decisions that they make. And in this time, you have to have a lot of courage as well to make decisions. You have to have decision makings that is important for yourself and your family. I think, and then like you said, there's many other examples too. But why do you feel some of these traits and characteristics is very important to have as a man?
I believe as a man, it's important to be honorable, respectful, and trustworthy to others. So, when we're looking at character building, you got to be very competitive as a man, and you got to be the best man. You understand? So, where I see it, that even draws to you in terms of business, family, friends, etc. But yeah, that's those are the things that are very important as we go. So it's one of those things that we have to learn. If we don't learn, there's always time and room for growth for everyone. Even though you can't say there's a man out there that have all these traits at once and don't have flaws. We're always gonna have flaws, and we work on our flaws to become better. Nowadays, everyone's a bit lazy. They don't want to read. They don't want to look into things.
Or learn.
Yeah, learn. Yeah, learn. Education is key, and you have to develop yourself. There's no two ways around it. I mean, there's no shortcuts. If you take shortcuts, that will show through your character. So you need to have these traits, and it's not even funny that when you see certain men with that characteristic, it's just terrible. I see a lot of men right now don't have no confidence within themselves and who they are, and I'm sure we're going to get into some of these conversations, but I'll let you lead the conversation and I'll just follow on to put my opinion into it.
No, absolutely. I think you articulated that really well and you raised some interesting points too. I mean, again, just going back on that, I feel like it's important, like you said, to echo some of the things you said. I think it's very important that you show these traits and characteristics. Like you said, it's not built overnight, it requires time, it requires learning, it requires consistency and just developing yourself. But we also face a time where some individuals, for circumstance reasons, they haven't been able to do that, or they just choose not to apply themselves, which is not a good thing, surely. But that doesn't mean you can't learn, because learning will forever exist until you're 6 feet under.
Of course, but you need to have characteristics and traits to be successful in life. So there's a lot of responsibility that man carry, which is family, friends, community, country, worldwide. So if you're a person that want to do something different in life and let others benefit from that, what do you be known as? I want to be the greatest. I am already the greatest. And this guy hasn't done lift a finger or read anything, and he's already claiming that he's the greatest. And I believe a man should never self-claim anything other than what's been given to him by others. Those that love him, those that run him, those that know of him. But with the day that you say, I'm this and that, that's what the things are missing from you. So I'll call that fronting. And nowadays, you know what they say? Fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that. Be real with yourself. Be true to yourself, and people will respect that, whether they like it or not. Everyone's different characteristics, but at the end of the day, there's a foundation that needs to be learned as a man. So you do need to explore that and learn. Learn. If you're not learning, then you're in trouble.
No, thank you for sharing that. I think if we've looked at the aspect of how a man should carry themselves with some of these traits and characteristics that we've talked about, then I guess for every positive, there's also some negatives too, right? Now, when we look at the aspect of how a man shouldn't carry themselves from a negative standpoint, I mean, some of the things that, for example, the women may complain about with some men might be that they may move in a, these new words that they use today in simps, beta males, red pillars, and etc. Like, I mean, I'm not familiar with a lot of these words. Maybe it just shows my age and me not being with the time, but I've seen a lot of these words thrown around today like a new normality, and people being put in different categories. So, as well as, all the other bad traits that you may think of in a man. So, what's your take on this? These words, simps, what's it called? They also mention fatherless behavior and other things. So, like, what's your take on some of these things,
Is
man?
fatherless behavior something that exists? Because I thought I made that up.
Maybe you did.
Well, I thought I made that up, but fatherless behavior, which means When a man don't act accordingly, has a father issue, which means there was no father to teach him, or a male figure in his life to teach him from right from wrong. Fatherless behavior, yeah, fatherless behavior is something that a lot of men suffer from, because sometimes you don't listen to your father or grandfather or male in your family, uncle, whoever it may be, that are real men that the community looks up to. Those are the kind of men that you need to look up to and study. And if you can't study them, then what you got is history. History tells us. Let's look at, for example, these three great men who were prophets in Islam, and some of them are prophets also in Christianity and Judaism. So, example, we look at Moses, we look at Isa, Jesus, and we look at Muhammad. These are, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, peace be upon them. These are the guys that we can look up to as men. They're top of men, role models. So when you're looking at a good character, these are the guys that carry them good characters.
Have fathers or?
Yeah, they didn't have no fathers, and they grew up like that. So Jesus had no father. So look how much of a man he was. And then you look at Moses, he never had a father. I mean, he had a father, but something happened to him when he was young, and then he got separated from his father, right? And then you got Muhammad, his father died while he was in the womb. His father died. So therefore, there's no excuses for people to say, "Oh, well, I don't have no father, so I don't know no better." Yeah, you don't have no father, but I'm telling you right now that you can be a better human being, and those are the role models that you should be looking up to. And if you look up to the role models and you become even caught of those men, you'll be well respected nowadays. So that's my advice to those that have fatherless behavior issues.
Those were very powerful words, and thank you for sharing that. What about the other aspects of the other words that's thrown, like simps and beta males and, you know, toxic?
Let me go into one at a time. So if I go, let's start off with simps. For example, simp is a man that lacks confidence. That means for you to be a simp, you have to be zero confidence. We start from the simp, that's the baseline of man. So that man's been broken down to that level, that where he thinks that he would have to do everything he can to please a woman. And usually what happens to those, and I've seen this with my own two eyes, like what happens to those men is that women get very bored of them very, very quickly. And I don't blame them. I mean, some women might say that they're into that, but you know what? Women say a lot of things. So my perspective of that, I'll say, don't ever be a simp. Because all that leads you is to be everybody looking down at you and disrespecting you. From a man to a woman to a child. Even dogs don't like simps. Well, that's just a rumor I heard from my dogs.
I think there's also other words, but we don't even need to go into all of them in details, because I guess we can talk about
the things. These are topics. So what I'm doing just right is touching up on it. So let's for example, red pillars.
Yes, red pillars.
Red pillars. Listen, whatever pills that you take, and stop it. First and foremost, drugs are no good. Second of all, when you say you're a red pillar and you hate women, to me, all I hear is when I hear red pillars, basically all they want to do is misuse women, which is absolutely wrong, because you're meant to be a leader of a community. I don't care who you think you are, but you are meant to be a leader of your home, of your community, of people, of your country, and so on, of the world. So if you're going to be a guy who cries about because they're hurting, that's a wrong way. You start hurt to build. You know what I'm saying? Because when you break a bone, you got to rebuild it, right? So when you're rebuilding the bone, what happens? It becomes stronger. And when it gets stronger, it's unlikely for you to break that same bone from the same place twice. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, red pillars, stop crying about it. Stop being hurt. Mind up. I know it's easier said than done. It's very challenging. But do not take your problems out on women. Don't do that, man. You'll ruin the next generation. Remember that. That's just my message right now. I'm just touching up on that. Now, who's the other ones that you were talking about?
I think those...
Beta males. Yeah. Beta males. What's the definition of beta male, first of all, so we can just get a rough idea?
Yeah, beta male, to be honest with you, beta male is a man trending to assume a passive or subservient role in social or professional situation. There's nothing macho about him. So it's more like he's a total beta male.
So it's those that are lacking testosterone. It's all right, because at the end of the day, you didn't choose to be in that position. Well, those guys, I would say one thing to them: exercise, eat well, much up, and study strong men. Study strong men, and you'll find your way. Even when you look at some of the and red pillars. Strong men, but they're taking that the negative things that happen in their life in their own energy. They use it as their own energy, but they can use that energy to build themselves and build those around them. You understand? So I'll leave that at that for now until we get into more details. And we're gonna break it down and get onto them kind of people that well, we're gonna get onto them because there's no there's no need for people like that to be in society in terms of, I would never say execute them or arrest them or do something to them, but they've got to change their ways because that's not fair to people around them. Why should you hurt, especially like red pillars, why would you want to hurt someone else or some wrong woman that you chose hurt you? Don't take it on a woman, man. You know what I'm saying? Take that upon yourself because you made a bad choices. Because a woman chooses who she let her life in, and we choose who we keep a relationship with, which is marriage or on pursuit. Does that make sense? So at the end of the day, take accountability for your actions or who you pick. When you pick a good person, you get a good result. If you pick a bad person, then you get a bad result. If you're blind to any of that and then you blindly walked into that, it's all right. Shake it off. Man up. Keep it moving. And if you've got a child with that person, take your responsibility and keep it going, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I think that covers the characteristics and traits of how a man should be. So then I think the next part to go into and to discuss is the bit about self-building. When you think of the word self-building, especially within a man, like what are some of the things that you feel that comes to you? Because I've got some views on it, but it'd be good to get yours. Like, I mean, there's the aspect of good character, ambitious, career, having a career or wanting to pursue a career. So, like, what do you think are some of the important things of self-building for a man?
Always improve. And if you feel like you're already like maximum, look for something, look for flaws. Always work on your flaws to be better for yourself, first and foremost. Have expectation for yourself first before anyone else has that for you. And I even strongly say, forget what everyone else has for you, parents, whatever it may be. So have the expectation for yourself. You have to think highly of yourself if you want people to think highly of you. So in that aspect, I believe a man should always build his character throughout his whole lifetime. And you will see a man at the end of the day that is almost, how do we say, covered a lot of categories in terms of building. So building is part of life, and you've got to build a man and woman. So you're always learning as a man. That's what I would say.
Thank you. I mean, there's also other things that I think of from my end. I mean, personally, I think when it comes to the career aspect of things, I believe as a man, you should always pursue a career. You have to look at some of the things you can start within your journey from a really young age. That could be, some people want to become like, like a basketball player, a footballer, a sports star. Some may think of other things or whatever else it may be. Just have a goal, and I know sometimes some dreams may not come true, but you pursue a career. I mean, you can use yourself as an example, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it like this, yeah. I've had when I was younger, I remember I told my father that I wanted to be a pilot. And then my eyesight was really bad. I'm short-sighted. So I remember being in school and I said, what do I have to do? What kind of grades do I need for me to become a pilot? And I was told math, English, and science, and your eyesight has to be 20/20 at that time. So I'm thinking, okay, and I know I don't have 20/20, so I didn't understand why. And the other option I had was through military, which I was too young to join the military. But at the end of the day, that didn't work out for me, so I had to plan B. I have to think about plan B and C. Plan B was basketball. I took the same level of focus. I'm talking about I focused really, really hard on basketball, where I tried to outwork every single athlete that exists that come in my path. I was very competitive. We're talking long hours of workouts. And we're talking about 24 hours. Like the only time I was not working out is when I'm sleeping. So I had that passion for that basketball. At the end of the day, there's so many things that I've done, mistakes which I could and learn from, which was I didn't end up making how good as I got. I was very, very good and very promising, but at the end of the day, I didn't make it because of injuries. I didn't know the knowledge behind how to look after your body. Now, so that didn't work out for me after quite a few injuries. I kind of backed off of that. Even though that knowledge sit there, it's not going to waste. But people might say, oh, whatever, you just want to whisper. I've got that knowledge right now on deck. I can teach something when it comes to, hopefully if I've got something in the future, I'll probably teach him, but I can teach basketball very good. And when we look at, so now that dream's out the window, I have to reinvent myself. Now I have to work hard until I figure what I want to do my next move. So my next move right now, example, is broadcasting. And I'm also doing other things in terms of entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. I don't like to be bossed around. I mean, I have to when I have to, but I don't like being bossed around. I want to be the boss. You understand? I don't want to work for no man. I want to work with men. I don't mind working with men, but I don't want to work for no man. That's just me. And career and that is not for me.
So, what you have shown in those examples that you have shared with us here, and for the viewers that are listening in, is that regardless of whatever that you pursue, even if it doesn't come true, that you gotta always keep pushing.
Yeah.
Have a plan A, plan B, plan C, and never give up kind of thing. And also be competitive and be ambitious and pursue a career. And that's a big characteristic of how a man should carry themselves. And I feel like it should be inspiring to others to know that you've shared your journey, and some of them was not successful as much as you wanted it to, but you never let that stop you from continuing.
Of course. I mean, I don't think anything should stop you from reaching the goal. Because I remember when I was working at basketball, I even planned my retirement, which was business. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, regardless, after basketball. And my legacy was to build a legacy in basketball, become a legend, and then build off that in terms of business, because now you got a name. So that didn't work out for me. But at the end of the day, now what can I do? Business. You understand? Because you can only be athletically gifted until what, 30s, in mid 30s to late 30s, and then after that you have to reinvent yourself. And a lot of basketball players are finding that out now. So, in that aspect, I'll say this: even if I don't make it now, even with this broadcast, with all the business I'm doing or whatever, the plans that I have, I'm still gonna find a way, one way or another, until the day I die. Does that make sense? So there's no. I don't want to give up nothing, man. Because like giving up is like when you give up on things, on dreams, or things that you want to pursue in life, that means you give up on life, man. So that means you're just another dead man. And I went to a seminar a while back when I was younger, and every man dies twice. I was thinking, interesting. I thought he was talking about after you die, then you go to afterlife. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking after that you don't die. But he said every man dies twice, and he says you die the day that you hit 25 and you haven't accomplished anything. Your dream, in terms of your dreams are broken. Basically, your dream is dead by 25. And then after that, you're deaf. And I was pretty stunned, thinking, why? And then I'm seeing, in the same seminar, I see a 60-year-old that made their first breakthrough, making 5 million, 6 million. So in that aspect, I would tell people not to give up, do a side project that's going to grow later on while you do your 9 to 5. There's no reason for you to sit back and think life is cushy and that you've got a great job or career. Don't think like that, man. Everything changed in life. So be ready for it.
No, absolutely. Is it me, or some men can come across like they live a life like they've achieved something when they really haven't achieved nothing? Like being too lax, laid back, and just chilled out, or cruise control mode.
I've got friends that are millionaires. I'm not a millionaire, but I've got friends that are millionaires. I see that in them and I say, why are you so relaxed? I've got a great career, blah, blah, blah. I said, that company could go tomorrow. What do you do? What do you do? Oh, then I'll find something else. Why wait for that day? For me, I believe the day that you get money, invest on things. Why do you let your money sit there for you and lose value? At least when the money's trying to make money, it's better. Let the money work for you as well while you're working. Until the day that you can get off the work that you're doing and that you can take care of the business that you're doing. So for me, if you're an entrepreneur person, I'm talking to entrepreneur person, the people that are motivated, that want to do something. Never ever give up. There's going to be times that you're down and there's going to be times that you're up. Enjoy the up times and also enjoy the downtime, because the downtime teaches you the valuable lessons for you to get back up.
No, absolutely. Again, thank you for sharing that. So what about Because again, when we're looking at the aspect of self building, some people have the advantage where they have both parents there. There's no broken homes. Their mother's there, their father's there, especially their father, especially in building them as a character of a man. Because again, a mother can only do so much, and that may not be necessarily her lane. And don't get me wrong, some mothers can do a brilliant job, no doubt. But again, a mother is not a father. And a father knows a lot of things that they can instill and teach within their sons. So some people are fortunate enough to have their fathers, where others may not. Or they may not even have a nearby uncle to even show them the way. So therefore, what do you say to those individuals that don't have a father, that don't know better, that have not been shown from right to wrong, and now they've grown up living their life without a father in their life, and because of that now, they may not know how to self-build, or they may feel, I wouldn't say the word lost, but a bit confused.
It's all right to be lost at times. I mean, sometimes it's not your fault. It is that you are becoming a victim of your environment. But that shouldn't give you no excuse to find yourself. Now, as a father, is father important? Yes. Is mother important? Yes. But also understand something that it's important that can build you, build your character. Back to what I said earlier, religion. If you look at the religion scriptures, it's not a joke. I mean, those scriptures build the best of men. Understand that. So when you base your life on the best of man and becoming the best of man, then you might even get closer to that. But if you believe that, I don't have a father, so I've got an excuse to act like the way I'm acting, no, you're being an idiot. You understand? I mean, you need to know from right from wrong. So if your father, example, was a drug dealer and who's arrested, there's a way out. Religion. Religion, religion, religion. I always say that. So there's no excuse for you. Because even the woman, even the ones that their mothers have raised, yeah, somewhere, somehow, there's a man involved in there. Whether it's an uncle, the mother's brother, or there's some sort of man that structures a man one way or another. While it could be older brother, it could be a cousin, it could be anybody in the family, it could be a friend. You understand? I'm telling you right now, look, all the things I'm giving you tools for you to fix yourself. So in that way, you can do better. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to better myself. I'm trying to become a better man. So you can look at it from that aspect and say, you know what, there's no excuse for me to be the way I am, man. Because things, if your life is messed up, you need to change things, man. And the only person that can start from you is you.
Mm-hmm. I think also when you look at the aspect of today's time, yes, people could be in the same situation they may have been in 20 years ago, where there's no father here, there's no father there. But the difference in today's time is you have access to more things. Like people can hear you on a microphone now, and you could share knowledge, something that your father taught you. You're able to share with them. And I know that you're mentioning some aspects of the knowledge you gain from your father, you can share with the people so that, yeah.
Yeah, I've done that with my friends, my family, and the knowledge I picked up from my father, the characteristics of that I've built on. Good things. Obviously, there's some bad things that I'm still working on, but at the end of the day, we're all human. But yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot from my father. At the same time, I've given that to my friends, and some of the friends input me from what they learned from their fathers, and we exchange information. I'm doing the same thing with you in this broadcast. I want men to be better than what they are. If the world needs to be changed, real men need to stand up. And to stand up, you gotta build character. When you build character, then you're ready to build a world and change it and make change. If you don't have that character, then you're just gonna be the same as everybody else. You can be bought. You understand? You need to have values. Values mean that's something that you will not sell. And that comes under character building. So you need to, I very highly recommend, because I'll tell you something, one thing mankind love is a good character of a person. You might not like the person, but a lot of people will. So if you want people to love you and respect you, build your character. Be respectful to others. Be patient. Be understanding. Be helpful. And be strong for them when they need you to be strong. So these are the kind of things that you need to work on as a man, and be composed at all time, which means when your time's up, your time's up. There's nothing you can do. So for example, if you be in life-threatening situation, stay composed.
I think those are really, really good points you're mentioning. Some of them we're going to be going on in the next part. But yeah, I think they are really, really good advices and information to share with people from a self building aspect of things. So for those that are listening, do make notes and pay attention because it may apply to you because it applies to all of us some way, shape, or form. I think the
It's
next
not a me. It definitely applies to every man.
right,
Some of them have that. If you got it, then make sure that you give that back to the youth that's coming up, man.
yeah,
Because it's unfair for you to keep all that information to yourself. You're just waste. What's the point of you having all that information and then you're not using it to help others? It's all about helping others, man.
I think the next part is looking at the expectations as a man and what kind of expectations that you have for yourself as a man, and what kind of expectations does your people, your friends, your family have of you. This is a very interesting section, and it's a section that we need to kind of look into because every will have some form of expectation for one and another. So, what's your take on this, Mo?
Yeah. Look, people can have their expectations for you. Mother, father, uncle, whoever it may be, yeah. A relative or spouse. But understand that you need to first and foremost have expectation for yourself as a man. Respect yourself. If you want to respect, you've got to respect yourself and respect others. So when you look at that, you need to understand that you need to have serious expectation for yourself and set the bar high so you can reach it or get close to it. Now, in that aspect, people can't say much to you if they see you working hard. Nobody can argue with you. If you're sitting still, the only time you should be sitting still is the time that you're figuring out your next move and you're planning your next moves, the next 10 moves, the next 10 years. Does that make sense? So you need to build always, man. Always build. Even if you say that if you become the most richest man in the world, you still gotta build. What can you do to make people's lives difference? I mean, like, how do you help people? I don't want to pay money to people and feed them. I want to give them the opportunity to feed themselves. How do you, and also think about it, when you help people, you're also building bridges. You understand? It's easier to kill a person and then you build hate. But when you look after someone, you build love and respect. And they remember you. Because those that you harm as well will remember you as a bad person. So remember that as well. So this could be a cycle that you start off.
Oh, definitely. And then I think another important expectation that every man should have for themselves is they're gonna have like a form of ambition as a person. I think ambition is something very important. You have to be visionary. You know how they say, what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? It's a question that's always asked to
Yeah.
people. They even ask it in interviews, right? I think this is a genuine question. You gotta have that kind of ambition, that vision, where you can see yourself wanting to achieve these things.
I don't look at the next 5 years, I look at the next 10, 20 years,
Yeah,
maybe even 100 years.
yeah,
You understand? When I mean 100 years, I don't mean necessarily for me. I don't think I will leave that alone. But I'm just saying for my family,
what
what I
you
leave
leave
behind. Not only that, I want to leave something behind for mankind. That's the greatest challenge that I can give to any man. What do you leave behind for mankind to benefit from? Yeah? That is a question every man should ask themselves before they think about their family. Family, yes, is given. You understand? Everyone wants to leave a legacy behind for their family. But you have to understand, if you leave your family a legacy and people around them are poor, those people around them that are poor that you left behind are planting for your family. So if you take care of them, they'll look after your family. Does that make sense? So you got to leave people with something that is valid, that are valuable to everyone, so people can think good of you, that you've done something for mankind or humanity or some sort of work that benefits people after you go.
that shows your reflection of what you've done in your life.
Yeah.
While you lived.
Yeah.
That's where it comes back to building a legacy.
Yeah.
We believe obviously firmly that God is the best provider of them all.
Mm-hmm.
But God also provides through other means, through yourself, for you to provide for your people. And he puts you in a place to do that. Now, as long as you're living, your point is you want to help the people to the best of your ability, especially your loved ones and family. Because there's nothing worse than leaving this world behind knowing that you've wasted it. I think another thing that is important in life, I mean, I guess life in itself, for starters, can be a struggle. Life is a fight, They say only the strongest survive. So I don't know if that's the aspect of an expectation, but you gotta expect that life comes with that, surely. So you gotta be ready to be a you to get into that fight. You know, you gotta. Life is a test. I mean, life is a prize, but it's a challenge.
Absolutely, I agree. Nowadays, it's funny how people are sensitive. People need to stop being sensitive because nobody really cares about how they feel. If people cared about how people feel, there won't be so much trauma and poverty in the world. So I would say this to this person: you are stronger than you look, and you know. You understand? Stop being sensitive. Build yourself up. The only reason you're sensitive is you're seeing, you feel failure of you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve. You haven't done something character building. And these are things that you can do regardless of what age you are. You're never too late until you're dead. So therefore, get up, do something. If you're overweight, I'll say this, if you're overweight as well, start off walking. When you walk a lot, you lose. Trust me, I've been there. I've been athletic and I've been skinny and I've been overweight. And one thing I've done is find out the things that work. And I'll tell you that now. Walking, when you do a lot of walking, you can even listen to her. You can do two things at once. Check this out. Take these notes if you're overweight. This will help you a lot. Get headphones, put on a book that changes your life, and walk. Just walk.
Or you can also add, they could just listen to our podcast while they're walking.
Yeah, for example, yeah. Something that helps you, just walk. Take that walk every day. I watch those pounds come down. And you'd be surprised how much body fat you burn and how much muscle you build as well. Because like with running and all that, if you're not ready for running, obviously, and you're overweight, the first thing that will hurt you is your knees and your back. So you have to be careful. I would suggest walk before you even go to the gym until you feel ready for the gym. And then from there on, when you just do that, what happens is your body, you feel good. Because you're building not only the muscle and getting rid of fat, you're also getting rid of stress and learning something. So your life is not wasting anymore. So these are the two things that I can give a person that's overweight. Trust me, you'll thank me later. If you do that for a year, you'll thank me later.
And I think to achieve that, this connects really well with the next one, which is to have a drive. You got to have a drive to achieve all of these things.
Yeah.
As a man.
With the drive, how it works out is like, with results over time, you get more and more drive. So the best thing you can do is like, example, if someone's overweight and they're lazy, I've been there, trust me, it's not a joke. It takes a mental toll on you. I'm 6'3", but I weighed 119.5 kilos, which is overweight. My stomach was out here, and I've never ever in my life pictured myself in this position. From someone that was athletic, lean, who was shredded, to become that was experience for me, and I wanted to see how far I can go as well. So once I'd done that, and then I walked my way out. Walked. I know you're gonna say, yeah, you've got athletic background, you've done gym, whatever. But at the end of the day, if it worked for me, just get your headphones and keep walking until you. And the more results that you get when you see the pounds coming down, you get more motivated. Now, on top of that, you're listening to a podcast or learning something, you're more motivated. Let that be your motivation for you to be great. Because every person in this planet can do that and learn something new every day. And I was just that. Education is the way forward. Yes, we learn education in different departments in terms of career-wise, but also there's more education for you to learn. Because you finish university and you got a degree, doesn't mean that your education at the end of the day. Education for life. And trust me, once you do that, life changes for you for better. Health, wealth,
happiness,
and growth.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So we lastly spoke about the expectations as a man. Now we're going to be looking at the challenges that a man can face in life and how they handle themselves. Because challenges are a given so long as you live life, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So, as I said, as we know, life can come with its challenges. And as a man, we can go through our challenges as when those challenges happen. So when these challenges happen, Mo, how do you carry yourself in these challenges? Like, how, as a man, are you supposed to carry yourself when these challenges come your way?
The first thing that comes into mind is very, very difficult, which is patience. You have to understand life is full of challenges. You had challenges before in different levels, and you would have challenges that you might never experience before in terms of the magnitude of that challenge. So, in that aspect, the patience comes into place. You need to be patient at all times and have that in you because there could be decisions that you might rush that might affect everything and everyone around you. So you need to have that time. If you can't figure it out straight away, take some time and have the patience. Don't rush in unless you got to make a quick decision that you need to make. Other than that, if you got time in business or whatever it may be, family, take your time with it. Think about it in a calm manner and then make that decision.
Yep. No, that's great. Is there any other things that come into mind on how you carry yourself in these challenges as well?
Calculated. You got to be a calculated person. If you're not a calculated person, then you're walking disaster. You got to calculate your next moves. Because what you have to understand is like, it's not the first or second move you need to think about. You need to think 10 steps ahead, 20 steps ahead, maybe 50, 100. See how far your mind goes. Challenge yourself. In that way, when those things happen, you're ahead of the game and the curve. While everybody's trying to figure out, you know what you're doing. So in that aspect, you got to be calculated of what's going to be the outcome of what you want to do, good or bad. And the next one is composure. Composure is a tough one as well, very challenging. How do you stay composed when there's life challenging or event or business in aspects of family loss or something? How do you stay composed? That is very tough and challenging itself because not every day that you need composure, but you do need it depending on the day when it arrives, which means somebody panicking, they've done something or something happened to someone, you got to stay composed. No matter how tough it is, you got to stay composed.
To avoid stress.
Yeah, and you have to take the stress away from the people around you and take on board. And obviously, that takes that's one of the parts challenges that you have to deal with composure. Composure is very difficult to deal with because of a lot of aspects, good or bad. Quick decisions. How do you stay calm when the house is on fire, for example? That is tough to get everybody out, to make sure what's most important. Just life is first and understand that. So when you're composed, you can figure out what's more in danger and what's more important. Yes.
Priorities.
Priorities, yeah. That's the correct word. Now let's look at acceptance. With acceptance, you have to understand, you have to take it for what it is. Sometimes you lose loved ones, family, friends, wife. You have to accept it and also accept that one day you will lose your life. So it's part of life for you to have some sort of acceptance and understand there's a higher power involved in this and there's nothing you can do. You can only do what you can and that's your best. Other than that, it's out of your hand. But those are the times that you work extra hard.
And also, there's the other aspect of acceptance, which is you've got to accept that challenges will come in your life.
110%, and that's part of life. Or like also you can lose somebody that you love.
Yeah.
You understand? So you have to accept that. It's part of life.
And then I think the previous point you were alluding to is though you lost a battle doesn't mean you lost the war.
Yeah.
No, I think that is very important. And also the aspect of religion. I mean, any challenges you face, I feel like many people will firsthand tell you, as a man especially, religion is the solution to everything. Religion will give you examples, stories, situations that prophets and messengers had experienced of challenges they faced in different times and different points in their life that can very much relate to a person in challenges they may face today. So looking at those role models as an example of how they overcame trials, tribulations, and dilemmas and situations that they went through and how they handled themselves is an example to all that you can also come out of it that you can also overcome these challenges. How did they do it? What could you do? How can you apply that to your life? I think that aspect surely is very important, right?
Without religion, I don't know where I'll be. Probably take drugs, be miserable somewhere. But with religion, it saved my life, man. I'm telling you that now, it saved my life and those that are around me. And where I see religion, without it, you're lost. But with it, you've got structure in life, and you got better chance of surviving this life and understanding. And what I understand nowadays is that people think they're doing something new. They think they're doing something new. What they don't understand is everything you thought, even the words that I used, the things that I thought I created, there's somebody else out there that done it before me. Even though it came to me spontaneous, the same way I'm creative with my mind, there's someone else that done it. Everything that we see today that was been done before, but we think that we're the first to do it. And that is shameful way of thinking, because if you're thinking, for example, if you're thinking that, I know this is another topic as well, but if you're thinking the pyramids, for example, was made with 3 elephants and 4 horses, you're out of your mind. You understand? You're out of your mind. There's civilizations before that knew that had a better technology than us. We know that. But nowadays, when people want to call it aliens, but they were human beings. You understand? So at the end of the day, we can act like, oh, like we're special. We're nothing special, man. The only special we are is those that around us. But you should not feel that you're special, that you create something special or new, blah, blah, blah. I mean, shut up, man. Really and truly, most of the things that we have, even technology, is just recycled things from the old technology. So that's how I see it. So at the end of the day, you're nothing special in terms of what you bring to the table.
These are some of the examples you can use and apply to yourself to overcome some of these challenges. Not that, this is all the solutions for challenges, but again, it's important things to bear in mind. I think that being said, we've covered a lot of things, and I think this leads us on to the final part, which is, I guess, the conclusion, or like a final summary, which is so now that, again, like I said, we've discussed about the character building of a man. To summarize the conversation, what are your final thoughts, Mo, and advice to the men that are listening?
That's a really good question. We can start off with religion. You need to have religion in your life to build your character and become a better human being. Because religion, to me, it means everything, to spiritually, mentally, physically as well. And you do need to have that one of your foundations. Now, that's one aspect. I'm gonna go through it quickly, so obviously it's closing time. And handling challenges. Challenges are one of the hardest things you can deal with, but at first they look very difficult. But after a while, you get used to it and you understand it. You observe it, and then you go through the challenge, and you come out on the other side to be a stronger and better man. Now, when we're looking at patience, this is one of the key areas every man struggles with. Patience is one of the hardest things you can learn as a man, because how do you do with all the BS that's happening, all the nonsense? You gotta have patience, and you gotta hear people out as well. What that means is like trying to understand, even know what the person's saying, listening. One, patience also comes under dealing with kids, also women, father, mother, brother, sister, everything that comes under patience. And that's a serious skill within itself. And responsibility. Responsibility is one of those things that sometimes we don't like, but you got to do it, regardless of what you think. Responsibility is on you 24/7. So with that responsibility, you got to come through with that and put that pressure on yourself that no matter what happens, as long as you're breathing and you're healthy, that you got to take care of responsibility. It could be a child, it could be parents, it could be anybody. That's what makes a man. Now, when we look at legacy is one of those things that every man want to leave for their family, to not go through what they want through, but to do better and continue with that legacy, so they can have a better life than you had yourself as a man that you went through. Even though that it built you, you still need to take it easy on your next generation. Now, that's one aspect of legacy. The second legacy is for what do you leave for mankind? What do you live for? What do you want to leave behind in this world so people can benefit from? Which is a bit more responsibility that you have to put on yourself as a man, because you are responsible for everything around you. So everyone that's around you as well. So it's not a joke thing. So you need to somehow, some way, leave something behind so mankind can benefit of animals or plants or the earth itself. Anything that you can leave behind as a legacy that can help others to be in a better situation. It could be a form of education. You understand? So in that, yeah, community building, building everyone around you and as a community is not a joke.
Absolutely. I think it's another saying as well. It's that famous saying they say, um, what do you want to be remembered as? Because it's also important to be remembered as somebody. And though we take this word very lightly, it's something we also have to remember in many ways. Because if you walk away in this life, because one day we're all going to die, right? You want to be remembered as somebody that's left something behind to your community, to your people, to the people around you. And at the end of the day, something that they can prosper from, something they can gain from, something they can also then build a legacy upon, and sharing knowledge, helping people, all these things is all part of life. And I feel like as a man, it's a responsibility of yours to make this happen. Because if you show your children the way, rest assured that they're going to show their ones along the way as well. And the ones after that you may not be able to meet or see. So therefore, it's very important to build a legacy. I think that's a very, very strong point. And I think everything else, you've explained it perfectly well. And that, on that note, that pretty much covers everything within this particular topic. So is there any final words you want to say, Mo, to wrap this episode up?
Yeah, remember, we are just people with experiences. We talk about our experiences in life in general. It don't mean we're experts. We are experts of our own lives, and everyone are experts on their own life and situations. So if you're gonna quote me on things, just remember this is my life and what I see. I'm not blind to it. I'm not gonna be following people to make me believe otherwise, because I see what those that around me see as well. And we might not come from the same background or anything like that, but where I'm from, things have been really, really difficult. Not to cry about it, but it's I embrace it, and I actually thank God for the things that happened, good and bad, because it made me a better person. So if you feel that life's been very tough on you, then you ain't got no reason. You got more of a reason for you to be a better person, because you went through hardship and you don't want anyone going through that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that. And thank you for sharing that. And I think that will wrap up this topic of discussion. So on that note, if you've made it this far, I just want to take a moment to thank you for listening to our podcast episode. If you liked the episode, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and see you on the next episode. Take care.